There is no denying that we've always been the conscience of this country. KBLA Talk 1580 is progressive talk radio built for our community, by our community, and with hosts who look like you, live near you, and care about what you care about. 50,000 watts of truth right here in Southern California. KBLA Talk 1580. Listen live on your AM radio dial at 1580 or stream us live on our KBLA1580.com website or on our free KBLA 1580 app.
Blackness, keep on.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte, your host and White House correspondent, joining you live in afternoon drive time where I'm in touch. So toot, toot, beep, beep, you be in touch. I am encouraging you all to download the KBLA app to listen to us live or on demand, or hop on YouTube if you're not already there and hop into A More Perfect group chat and sound off. You too are a part of the show on YouTube. Last but not least, subscribe to A More Perfect Union podcast. That way you won't miss some of our most memorable conversations. Just subscribe, and every time we drop a new conversation, you'll get a little notification to your phone or device, and you can listen to that at your leisure. All right. We have quite a show in store for you. This is hour two. And let me just say, we first need to start off by talking about Michigan, because Tuesday night was a genuine earthquake in Democratic politics, and it hits close to home for a lot of us. During the commercial break, I was just scrolling through Instagram, and I saw that former Vice President Kamala Harris has endorsed Dr. Abdul El-Sayed for U.S. Senate in Michigan. Saying in a statement, "Let me be clear, there is no Democratic Senate majority without Michigan. The midterm elections are the best chance we have to put a real check on Donald Trump's corruption and push back against his administration. The stakes are too high for us to hold back. We have to do everything in our power to make sure Abdul wins his race for Michigan and the entire country." That is former Vice President and former Democratic nominee for president Kamala Harris, who just a couple hours ago endorsed Dr. Abdul El-Sayed for U.S. Senate in Michigan. I also saw that Governor Gretchen Whitmer did not waste time. She also endorsed him. It looks as if the Democratic Party may be coalescing around him quick and fast, but we're going to get into that in a little bit. But let me just note that in the 13th Congressional District in Detroit, State Representative Donovan McKinney defeated two-term incumbent Representative Sri Thander in a race that came down to roughly 4,200 votes out of 112,000 cast. McKinney is a Detroit native, a Democratic socialist backed by Bernie Sanders, Rashad Tlaib, and the Michigan Chronicle. And here's why this matters beyond ideology. Tander's 2022 win had ended Detroit's unbroken run of black congressional representation, McKinney's victory likely restores it. In fact, Tander's 2022 victory, it marked the first time since 1955 that a black lawmaker did not represent Michigan's 13th district. And in the 7th district, a genuine swing seat, community organizer William Lawrence defeated establishment-backed rivals, delivering another win for the party's left flank. And so this isn't just a Michigan story, it's a signal. It's a signal about where the energy in the party actually lives right now and whose voices are demanding that it be heard. All right. Also breaking today, the Senate confirmed that Dr. Erica Schwartz as the new director of the CDC in a 51-44 vote, making her the agency's first permanent Senate-confirmed director in nearly a year. The vote broke mostly along party lines, with Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia, the only Democrat, voting yes, alongside all Republicans. Schwartz previously served as Deputy Surgeon General during the first Trump administration. She takes over the agency where morale, as you can imagine, has plummeted. And an agency that's lost more than a quarter of its workforce through layoffs and resignations since her predecessor was fired last August after clashing with HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. over his attempts to roll back childhood vaccines. And she's walking into a full house, the highest U.S. measles case count in 35 years, plus an active cyclosporasis outbreak tied to shredded iceberg lettuce. And so she got a lot on her plate. And we got a lot on our plate. And that's why we got the right folks to help us unpack it all. Beyond Impact CEO Vincent Jones. And a little bit later, Al Reynolds, our politics and pop culture contributor. He's also an executive in residence over at Bowie State University. They both join us live to break down Michigan, immigration accountability, and more. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
As a fitness coach, my active psoriatic arthritis can slow me down. With Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, I'm treating my skin and joint symptoms so I can keep moving. Skyrizi, a prescription-only injection for adults, helps me move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. And for those who have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible. With Skyrizi, there's no daily dosing. It's just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement. And that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The BLM Center for Black Power is a hub for Black activism in the city of Los Angeles, a standalone nonprofit affiliated with Black Lives Matter LA. The venue is home to live events, meetings, and organizing drives for Black-led community-based organizations. It is also the base of operations for Black Lives Matter LA. To everything from youth organizers to toy drives to film screenings and community town hall meetings. To make a donation or make a request, please visit blmla.org. That's blmla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
just in case you missed our Procrastination Crenshaw Town Hall.
Been dealing with the lies of Crenshaw Destination. I live on this street. I remember the first day I came and it was no parking. And they said it'd be 6 months just to fix the wall. They started putting the big boulders down, and my life has changed ever since then. My kids haven't had graduation parties. They haven't had birthdays. My car's been in the shop multiple times. All my tires have been replaced multiple times, each one. I spent $1,000 on my front lawn for the 6 months. Keep replacing sprinkler. Now it's just dirt. You know, it's frustrating because I'm not a politician, but I know politics. You know, and I know the Smiley said the councilman, but I want to go above that. Karen, you want my vote? Make things happen. Talk is cheap. We can play these games. Period. Because you can't fix it, somebody will.
Not letting them get away with anything. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
We have no permanent friends or permanent enemies. Only permanent interests. As we effort to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte, and really delighted to welcome back to the show my friend Vincent Jones, CEO of Beyond Impact. A little bit later, Al Reynolds, our politics and pop culture contributor, will be joining us. But Vincent, it's just you and me for the moment.
I got you all to myself. I feel special.
You sure do. You sure do. Look, Michigan just handed the Democratic Party a clarifying moment, and I'm so glad that you're here to help us understand it. Vincent, I got to ask you to first just walk us through plainly what actually happened in Michigan on Tuesday night, and why is the political class calling it a nail biter and an earthquake all at the same time?
So I think it's interesting to look at the discussion about it today, because I don't think it's a recent thing. It's really the result of years of organizing on the ground. You have groups like Detroit Action, a partner of Beyond Impact, and several other groups who have been working between elections to go to knock on doors, to talk about the issues, to develop leaders, to help people to understand how who is in office impacts their everyday lives. And it's that kind of organizing that has got people like Rashad Tlaib and many others in Michigan and other states. So it's not just about this one moment. It has been movement building over time. At the same time, people are angry. They're angry at establishment Democrat trying to be, in their view, MAGA light or Republican light. Many of the moderates say, well, if I want that, I'll vote for that. And so what we're seeing in this election is somebody who's willing to call a thing, and to do it with their 10 toes down. And that's what people want right now. They do not want people just to kind of send out a nicely worded letter. They want them to really fight for the future of our country.
That's right. That's right. And I just want to really double click on something that you said. It is something that has been a part of your life's work and my life's work for a long time, which is that work in between election cycles. There's a lot of hubbub that we hear heading into any particular election. But then a lot of that goes silent, goes dormant in between election cycles. And in my view, and I'm curious whether or not you share the view, I suspect you do, that I think one of the things that folks on the right, get right is that investment in that communications infrastructure, that investment, in the next generation of movement leaders, that investment in between election cycle is oftentimes what makes the biggest difference, particularly in races like this, where it's a very close call for folks on the ground in places like Michigan.
It's so true. And I can tell a personal story. When I was a college student at Swarthmore, it's a very progressive institution. A lot of the students who go there, are very involved in progressive activism. At one point, Richard Nixon called it the Kremlin on the Crumb. We have a river called the Crumb River, saying they were like socialists and communists. the Young Republicans Association, no, the conservative, some group gave a $10,000 grant to 4 students to start a conservative campus, a conservative group on campus. And they used that money to bring these big thinkers in. Those same students got paid fellowships to work at the Heritage Foundation over the summer in DC. Heritage has a huge building in DC where they house interns for free. Now, I know no organization on the progressive side of the aisle that has a building to house people. When I did an internship in DC when I was in college, I was lucky that I did have a fellowship that did pay for me to live over summer because I didn't have a wealthy family to come from. So I was able to have a scholarship that paid for me in summer to do work. And that helped me to be on the path to where I am today. So thinking about the thousands of people we're seeing today who are destroying our democracy, they started in college. They got scholarships, they got housing, they got mentorship, they got tutoring to learn how to be these Stephen Millers of the world.
I mean, look, if that don't say we need to get serious about our investment in people, our investment in leaders, every step of the way, I don't know what does. Thank you for sharing that story. Speaking of leaders that are delivering a return on investment, Donovan McKinney's win likely restores Black representation to a district that had it continuously since the 1950s, minus the past few years of an interruption. Talk to us about what that interruption revealed about how, quote unquote, safe Black political seats really are.
Well, I think that is a great question because a lot of the calculus of campaigns assumes that folks who have reliably voted one way do not need to be talked to. And so instead, it's those who waffle are the ones who get the attention. But after a while, if you get ignored, you just drop out of the system. You kind of you back up. And that, I think, was happened, not just in that race, but in Kamala's race for president and in many other elections, especially at a time when Black people and Black voters are being attacked. So you need to be able to show that you care about Black voters, that you care about our issues, that you understand the fear that we feel, the anger that we have, and the real issues that need to be addressed. So it's a wake-up call. It should be a wake-up call for all campaigns to not just do the same tactics to keep winning.
Yeah. And speaking of some of these tactics, it's worth noting that Donovan McKinney, he ran on this economic populism message. He was talking about ending corporate PAC money. He was talking about Medicare for all. He was talking about taxing the wealthy, while also carrying the banner of restoring Black representation. Are those two lanes actually one lane, or is the party still treating them separately?
Interesting. I was thinking about it for a little bit, but what I do want to talk about the importance of Black leadership and a Black-led organizing in general. It is in this climate we're in now, people talk about why DEI is bad, anti-DEI, but it has been Black-led organizing that has expanded access to democracy for all. And it is not just about benefiting us who have Black skin. It's really about, we have been holding this country's feet to the fire to fulfill its promise. And so when you have Black elected officials, yes, they definitely have a personal understanding. They should have a personal understanding of our lived experience and the issues that are important in Congress and city halls and whatever it might be. But we have, for some reason, been able to really make sure that we truly are of, for, and by the people.
I've got to ask you, if you're a moderate Democrat in a swing district and you're watching Michigan, you're watching it real closely, what's your takeaway? Is it panic? Is it we got to adapt? Is it we got to stay the course? What's the takeaway?
I'll be clutching my pearls and I'll be calling my consultants and trying to figure out, well, what else did I do differently? I mean, I think every campaign, it has to actually run for its district. The state of Michigan, of course, it's one large state, but every district has its own unique fundamentals. And when I worked on campaigns, I will never forget Rose Kapelchinsky. She is the campaign manager I worked for the most. She is a brilliant thinker. If you don't know her, Google her, find out about her. But she always said, listen, you do your work at the beginning. You figure out how many votes you need to win. You figure out how you're going to get that win number, and you stay true to your plan until stuff changes on the ground, make you think differently. I don't know that what we're seeing in Michigan will translate everywhere. I will also say, someone else also told me, who I respect, that for the majority of American history that there's been polling, most people, regardless of their party, would say that they're conservative. That number has only shifted a little bit over the past few years, but over the past 20, 40 years, it has been fairly consistent. The majority of people, regardless of party, say they're conservative. So I think there is something to this idea that moderates win at the general election and progressives can have a chance of winning in the primary. But that said, if I was a moderate, I would be worried. I would want to make sure our plan fundamentals still hold, and they don't hold. I want to make some changes, and I probably would start just having a little more feistiness in my messaging, and not just try to play it safe all the time.
Yeah, let's head to this next story that's happening right here in Southern California. A federal judge held the Department of Homeland Security in contempt on Tuesday for allegedly slow rolling a court order to create digital copies of communications from personal cell phones used by immigration agents during operations in LA last year. U.S. District Judge had ordered the government back in January to expedite imaging the personal cell phones of more than 800 agents involved in those raids. The judge imposed a $500 per day fine on the federal government until it complies, plus reimbursement of plaintiffs' attorney legal costs. The Department of Homeland Security attorneys admitted in June that the agency hadn't turned over the records, telling the judge that they were processing devices at a rate of 3 phones every 2 weeks. Vincent, I've got to ask, what do you make of this? I mean, folks already have a lot of adula, to say the least, over how the Department of Homeland Security is being run, how ICE is being weaponized. We saw Democrats earlier this year hold on voting for a funding bill, in hopes of winning, some changes to business as usual at ICE. That proved to be unsuccessful. What do you make of this latest disclosure? This fact that it's another data point that proves that DHS is operating in a lawless manner.
First, I want to just really break down what's happening, because when you see the headline, the average person, I think, what is really going on here? So imagine you're trying to sue somebody for being racist. They're saying racist stuff on their cell phones. But the other side is trying to say, oh, no, those are personal phones. We don't have the right, or we don't have the ability to get that information to be able to use to prove that they're racist. Now, from what I understand, in the actual court case, the people in question who are being accused of being racist have said they use their personal phones a lot while they're at work. So they're using their phones while they're at work. They're being accused of being racist, but for some reason, the federal government, who can put people onto the moon, can't get into the phone of their employees. Now, I have 2 phones, one for work and one personal, because of this very reason. And I make sure that all of my work stuff is dealt with on my work phone and personal my personal phone. So if something were to happen, I'll be like, here's my work phone. Go ahead and have at it. My personal phones are all personal. So that's one part. I want to break that down. But the irony that the government loves to search the phones, the computers, every device of immigrants, of lawyers of immigrants, of activists, of everyone who is just being a regular person, But the people who are charged and are held to a higher standard, they don't want to do anything about that. That to me is a height of hypocrisy. And we all should be up in arms about that, regardless of how you feel about immigration. If you are a libertarian, you should be pissed off. If you're a conservative, you should be concerned because they're not following the rule of law.
Well, let me tell you something. I feel like the libertarians have been tied up in a broom closet. Because as much as they like to talk about protecting civil liberties, as much as they want to cite, the philosophy of John Stuart Mill as sort of undergirding, the libertarian thought that they're wedded to, part of my frustration with libertarians is, they never seem to show up in the midst of the fight.
Never.
Right. And this is a righteous fight. If you believe in the Constitution, if you believe in the protection of our civil rights and civil liberties, you should be paying attention to this case because, the fact that, to your point, the federal government is being sued for violating people's rights. And they are slow walking a court order to hand over the evidence, a court order. And so you have this federal judge is now imposing this $500 per day fine. What's that going to do?
Right.
What's that going to do with an agency that has never seen more funding in its existence? Right now, as we sit here today, ICE, which is under the Department of Homeland Security, is funded, I believe, through 2029. 2029. I mean, I think they're operating off of something like 75 or 80 billion dollars. They are better funded than the FBI, better funded than the ATF. They're one of the most funded law enforcement agencies in the country. So what's $500 per day? What's that going to do?
I think they have a bigger budget every meal. Okay.
Go ahead.
I think they have more money than every other military combined. I saw some stat like that. It's insane. And they should be charged a lot more than $500 a day, 100%.
That's right. When we come forward, the fun is, it's only going to get more fun because Al Reynolds is going to join us to unpack some of the day's biggest, in some case, most troubling, in some case, most interesting headlines. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More with Al and Vincent when we come forward.
Thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nee Cordelai-Corte on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. President Trump says the Strait of Hormuz will reopen very soon.
The strait's going to be open very soon, or they're going to get hit very hard, and then the strait's going to be open. We will go into a tremendous attack, the biggest since World War II.
Iran says they control the key shipping route, which carried about 20% of the world's oil traffic before the war. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says talks are progressing, but no agreement has been reached. Maryland lawmakers have approved a constitutional amendment changing the state's congressional redistricting standards. Voters will decide the issue on the November ballot. Black Governor Wes Moore says Maryland must act while President Trump and Republican-led states pursue mid-decade redistricting efforts. And Beyonce has released a remix pack for Morning Dew featuring 3 new versions, including 2 with her husband Jay-Z. The release comes ahead of her September 4th birthday and the 20th anniversary of her album, V-Day. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Here's a stat that should be a major concern for Dodgers fans. The Dodgers are 3-7 since they went to the White House on July 23rd to celebrate last year's World Series championship with Trump. A lot of people told the Dodgers they shouldn't go, but they went anyway. No matter which side of the political debate you fall on, it is plain to see that the Dodgers have been struggling since that White House visit. The Dodgers hope to snap their 5-game losing streak tonight in Chicago against the Cubs. Some key dates to put on your calendar for USC football this season. USC opens up at home August 29th against San Jose State. Ohio State comes to town October 31st. The Trojans play at defending national champion Indiana November 14th. The UCLA football team, with new coach Bob Chesney, opens up at Cal on September 5th. UCLA wraps up the season November 28th against USC at the Rose Bowl. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
There is no denying that we've always been the conscience of this country. KBLA Talk 1580 is progressive talk radio built for our community, by our community, and with hosts who look like you, live near you, and care about what you care about. 50,000 watts of truth right here in Southern California. KBLA Talk 1580. Listen live on your AM radio dial at 1580 or stream us live on our KBLA1580.com website or on our free KBLA 1580 app.
Unapologetically progressive.
We don't do ordinary. This is KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. August 5, 2026. Dear LA City Council President Marquise Harris Dawson, on behalf of a coalition of businesses and residents that constitute the Crenshaw Corridor community, we write to request that a concrete timeline and resources for fully completing Destination Crenshaw within a year be developed and announced. A year is the outside time it should take, and we hope and expect that it can be finished considerably sooner. We also request the immediate establishment of a business interruption relief fund for the merchants, entrepreneurs, churches, and property owners who have borne the disproportionate economic burden of the prolonged delays associated with the Destination Crenshaw project, and a resident relief fund for the residents of the corridor who have been most adversely affected by the prolonged construction and delays associated with this unfinished development. Destination Crenshaw was presented to this community as a transformational investment in Black culture, Black commerce, and the future of South Los Angeles. It has now been 6 years since the project broke ground and over 2 years since the promised completion date. Construction has stalled with no apparent end date in sight. The Crenshaw Corridor community embraced the vision of Destination Crenshaw, but the obstruction from the delayed construction has caused prolonged health and safety hazards, uncertainty, reduced customer access, declining revenues, disruptions, and mounting financial hardship. A broad spectrum of the community expressed their frustration over these delays and the impact they have had on the community at a standing room only July 30th town hall at Bethesda Temple Church, widely covered by the media, including ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC. The burden of these unexplained delays should not rest on the shoulders of the Crenshaw Corridor community, which acted in good faith and supported this historic project. If the city fails to provide a complete and substantive response to this correspondence within 30 days of the date of this letter, the Crenshaw Corridor community reserves its right to pursue all of its rights and remedies. Sincerely, the Crenshaw Corridor community. To read the complete letter detailing all of our demands, go to our website at KBLA1580.com. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Hit me! National news, the consequence. Informed opinion. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte, and really delighted to be together again. We got Vincent Jones, the CEO of Beyond Impact, and Dr. Al Reynolds, who is executive in residence over at Bowie State University. He's our politics and pop culture contributor, and he's booked and busy. And so we're glad to have you with us.
Oh, I'm glad to be here, but I see my notice to HR didn't change anything. Brother Vincent is still on the flyer. Bigger before me. He's still number 2, not number 3. I need to talk to higher management, please.
Well, it's like with like on like in the old on what's that show with, oh my gosh, with Heather Locklear was a guest star at the end.
Melrose Place?
Yes, Melrose Place. There you go.
All right, folks. Well, let me tell you something. This is this Epstein drama and saga may have Melrose Place beat. A new Senate Finance Committee report from Democrats led by Senator Ron Wyden alleges that more than a dozen bankers at JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, the Deutsche Bank, they all raised red flags about money that Jeffrey Epstein was moving around the world, but most cases failed to alert the Treasury Department until Epstein was actually charged with sex trafficking in 2019. The report alleges that the banks failed to conduct appropriate due diligence on, get this, a more than $170 million in payments that Leon Black, former CEO of private equity giant Apollo Global Management, made to Epstein. $170 million in payments to Epstein, with Black identified as Epstein's single largest source of funding. Vincent, from a policy and oversight lens, what actually happens next with a report like this? And does it lead anywhere? Does it live and die in the press cycle, perhaps?
Now, good and guard down well, and nothing gonna happen. Now, if it was one of us, I had a situation recently when I transferred some money from my checking account to my credit card account at the same bank that I've had for a while. And they held the money. I was like, wait, you see it in one account and you see it going to other account, but you're holding the money. Now, if I was a billionaire, if I was Jeffrey Epstein, maybe I wouldn't have any issue. And that is the real problem. People who have money, the billionaires and rich people in this country right now, they are abusing the system. They're allowed to abuse the system, and we have to put a stop to it. But unfortunately, the people we have who are leading our country right now are in cahoots with them, and they do not want to do anything because they know, or I believe, that they're also implicated in some of the wrongdoing.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely see that being the case here. Al, I want to ask you, culturally, why does this story keep resurfacing without real consequences for the institutions involved? I mean, I just named some pretty heavy-hitting financial institutions. I would venture to say a lot of our leaders, learners, and listeners got all of their money or a lot of their money tied up in these institutions. Why is it that they don't seem to, any real consequences don't seem to stick?
Well, let me tell you, I think you, Brother Jones, as well as you, Dr. Nicardelli, have really hit this whole story on its head. Now, this just isn't about one wealthy client, like Brother Jones suggested. This is about a group. This is a white boys club. This is a wealth club that runs the economy, creates industry, creates economy, and commoditizes their relationships amongst each other. This is also about institutional responsibility. Now, remember, I was a private wealth banker at Merrill Lynch, and it was a part of this whole consortium of people that participated in this, what we call irresponsible banking. Now, banks spend billions of dollars every year monitoring transactions to detect money laundering, to detect fraud, and to detect financial crimes. But you're going to tell me when the wealthiest, not one person, but group of people are doing it, that a red flag is going to be thrown? Absolutely not. So when allegations surface that obviously are warning signs that they have missed, the question becomes, like you said, not who's responsible, but who's going to take responsibility. All right? Accountability should never stop with just one person who you've let through when it is a it's a group of them all doing the same thing. Had they exposed him, it would have bellied up the financial service industry in general. It would have bellied up the venture capitalist industry in general. It would have bellied up the asset management industry in general. So I say this, sometimes the system deserves just as much scrutiny, meaning
Yeah.
the as the people exploiting it, which means all the wealthy people. And the only way we're going to get accountability is if we make the banks responsible for the people that they've allowed to come in and exploit the rest of us. Because I'm going to tell you what, you're not going to get away with not paying an overdraft fee.
No.
Yeah, you're not. And Al, while you turn up the volume on your microphone, we want to make sure we hear you loud and clear. If you turn up the volume on your microphone right now while we're live, I just want to ask you a follow-up question, because you're right. I mean, I know that you have experience, working on Wall Street. I know you have a lot of experience in the financial services industry, and I think you just hit on a very important point that I just want to lift up. That it's hard to not read the story and to not see these as a series of choices made by folks in leadership, perhaps a coordinated choice by folks in leadership at a host of different major banks.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Is that better?
Just a little bit more.
That's, you know what? Okay, something's going on over here.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. But as you work on that, hey, Vincent, I want to go to you. I want to go to you on this question around accountability. Is bank accountability or money laundering, is it a bipartisan winner, or does it splinter along other lines? I mean, is this an issue that folks should be united in addressing, or is this still a loser issue for one party or the other?
Unfortunately, it is not a bipartisan issue yet, and I'm not even sure we have broad consensus among the Democratic Party, to be honest, because there was, you might remember the consumer, I forgot the whole acronym, but the agency that Liz Warren set up before she
the Consumer Financial Protection Agency.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that was not widely supported even among all Democrats, and it definitely wasn't supported by both parties. And after it was created, it was slowly dismantled. There were a lot of folks on Wall Street and in the financial industry who supported Obama and Biden for whatever reasons, who are now supporting this current administration. And a lot of what they supported was deregulation. So I think there is the banks have an outsized control of our system. They finance both sides of the aisle, and it creates this strange bedfellow for Democrats. That's why we really have to look at money in politics. We have to create a system where average people are able to speak and act as loudly as a corporation or a billionaire within our system. And that's what a lot of our groups do at Beyond Impact, to try to make sure that they're balancing the playing field.
Yeah. Al, I want to go back to you and ask you, what should everyday account holders take away about how seriously or not their own banks treat suspicious activity reporting?
Oh, I'm hoping this is better. I put in
Much better.
Yeah.
It is okay, cool. Being that I've worked on both sides of the bank, meaning I have been a service provider for clients like yourself, Dr. Nicordelai, and now being a client myself, I think what we have to do is we have to just make sure that we document and are aware of the wrongdoing. And if it feels wrong when it comes to your money, your gut tells you when it's wrong. When it feels wrong, you have to complain. You have to take it to the correct channels of putting in a complaint. Now, a lot of us don't even know that we can complain about stuff. And this is not just a customer service call. No, you have to go beyond a customer service call, because customer service calls only get customer service solutions. You have to go to protocol
discrepancy, right? So, and also you bind it with the contract. So you are not disputing a customer problem, you're disputing a contract problem because you have entered into a contract with your account. So I think that's the first thing that we have to do. And when we feel something isn't right, we have to go through the correct channels of reporting it, because that's something that has to be followed up institutional as well as by the governing bodies of it, right? So the watch houses. So that's what I would recommend that all consumers do that have banking accounts, and when something happens that doesn't feel good.
That's sage advice there. Okay, now it's time for a palate cleanser. A quick palate cleanser before we move forward. Leonardo DiCaprio and Jeff Bezos, they've launched the Phoenix Species Project, a $200 million initiative to help revive 100 of Earth's most critical endangered species, including lemurs and salamanders and a whole lot of other animals. Half the funding comes from the Bezos Earth Fund. The rest comes from Leonardo DiCaprio's regarding Wild Along the Age of Union and Todd Graves Family Foundation. And organizers call it the largest single philanthropic initiative ever dedicated exclusively to species recovery. Vincent, what do you make of this?
So two things can be true at the same time. It is very important to protect the habitats and actual species that are declining. And I think for the average person, when I hear about saving a salamander, like, why is that important? People don't realize how every single species impacts the overall ecosystem. The way bees pollinate plants help us to get fruits and vegetables and so on and so forth. Salamanders play a key role in their ecosystem. The irony of all this is, though, that Jeff Bezos, and especially his big effort to create a lot of AI centers, AI data centers, and his warehousing, and the way they have this huge goods movement network, is creating part of the problem. And I think he should be spending more money to try to reduce the impact of his operations on the environment. That probably will do even more to save their habitat and the species than what this fund is going to do.
Al, I've got to ask you, is this classic, do as I say, not as I do for Jeff Bezos?
I'm gonna tell you, this is classic Hopper to me, Vincent Jones. I don't like it. I can tell you an endangered species that you can give $200 million to, and that is the black man. Okay, yeah, we are an endangered species, and you can take that money and give it to a whole lot of initiatives in the United States to help protect the economy and the ecosystem, whatever you want to call it. But of course, this is objective, right? So I will say this, that was my initial gut. I am so tired of these ultra wealthy celebrities and ultra wealthy entrepreneurs who lean and stand on the backs of us black people in America to make these millions, and then they want to go save some dolphins. Okay, I get it. Get your polar bear in. That's all good. Then I had to calm down, Dr. Nicordelai, because what I found out is that those endangered species that they are investing in, which happens to be 100 over 30 countries, are mostly in Africa. And we have to understand that by protecting those species, we're protecting the tourism economy of that continent, right, and of those countries. And what that means to us as people of color is that it keeps us employed and able to feed our families. So I had to reel it in just a little bit to make sense of this, but I still stand on 10 toes down that if you got $200 million to throw around at a polar bear, throw a little bit of it in the United States and help correct this huge curve that we have against the endangered species called African Americans, and specifically the African American male.
You better say that. You better say that, Al Reynolds. And while you're at it, if you're investing on the continent, there are a lot of people who are losing their lives to the Ebola outbreak. It's even worse than the last one. And so if we're going to support the polar bears and the salamanders and everybody in between, why don't we support the human life that's at risk due to the public health crisis unfolding right there on the continent? When we come forward, We are coming right back here to LA, and there's some news afoot related to the Paramount merger, and I have a feeling that Vincent and Al have something to say. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight illnesses like pneumococcal pneumonia and RSV. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and can help protect you from getting really sick. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. See more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's the show everybody's talking about. What's up, y'all? I'm Amanda Seals with a personal invitation for you to join me every Friday here on KBLA Talk 1580. Now, you get 2 chances to tap in, noon to 2 p.m., and again from 4 to 6 p.m. Real talk, no filter, just you and me on the highest of vibrations. Fridays only on KBLA Talk 1580.
This isn't a talk show. It's a town hall with no walls. This is KBLA Talk 1580.
Just in case you missed our Procrastination Crenshaw Town Hall.
We've had neighbors who have had the garbage truck potentially swipe their vehicles because if you park just a little bit too much into the street, you're at risk of getting it hit. If you park too much forward or back, you can't get in and out of your own driveway. And if you're late for a meeting or an appointment, pretty big deal. I really hope we never have a major emergency on this street because being able to get fire department in and out would be very difficult. Personally, while the project goes well beyond anything that my husband and I are facing personally with our home, we do have a very large project within our house. We are very blessed to be in it, but it needs a completely new foundation. It is currently slipping into Crenshaw right now, and we cannot do that work because a concrete truck can't come in to actually do the work. So it's a bit scary for us in that manner. But there have been, there are numerous things that I know we will hear about today that everybody is facing on a daily basis. We really look forward to hearing what everybody has been going through and then trying to find a way to get the construction complete and move forward.
Making sure they follow through. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
Notable journalists, industry leaders, lawmakers, change makers, tastemakers, and you working to build a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. In our remaining minutes, let's wrap with news that matters here in Hollywood, at least. Paramount Skydance reported second quarter net earnings fell $41 million, down from $57 million a year earlier, even as streaming showed strength and the TV division kept shedding ad dollars and subscribers. The bigger story here is a federal judge scheduled a March 2027 trial to decide an antitrust challenge from 12 state attorney generals led by California's own Attorney General Rob Bonta against Paramount's proposed $111 billion acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery. CEO David Ellison, he penned an op-ed in the New York Times defending the deal, arguing in his words that the news organization under his ownership would be run, quotes, based on facts and truth and independent of his personal politics. Al, from a media and culture lens, what's actually at stake for consumers and for Black media representation if this merger closes? Oh,
main stage. Oh, can't hear me?
Oh, go ahead. We can hear you now.
Okay, we're just getting pushed off of this main stage. Now I'm going to tell you this. David Ellison is making the case, like you said, that combining Paramount with Warner isn't just good business right now, but it's necessary for the survival in today's landscape, entertainment landscape. So whether we agree or disagree, he's pointing to a real problem. Hollywood has changed. Consumers want everything instantly. Streaming platforms are spending billions, and artificial intelligence can't be ignored. So for me, this isn't simply a merger story. This is an evolution story. And as it relates to what and how it's going to affect Black people, I'm really concerned. Like, I am deeply concerned. And maybe them pushing us off of these mainstream platforms and making us go to these streamers to get our voice heard may be the best thing that ever happened to us.
Vincent, I've got to ask you, is there perhaps, a version of quote unquote big media consolidation that civil rights and consumer advocates on the left and right could both get behind, or is this always going to be a fight?
It's always going to be a fight. And I do want to say to the earlier questions you asked to my brother Al, I remember when Fox News had to pay that big penalty, and a certain radio show, a certain Black news show that
come on now, tell the people, Vincent, tell the people.
Somebody I know was doing a great job breaking down news for our community around the country. Got shelved. Not just that show, but a whole Black-oriented channel on Fox. And I'm sure that Ellison is not watching BET, is not thinking about the networks that and the shows that our community watches. So it's a big issue for the community. But I think overall, I do think there's a lot of folks on the progressive side of the aisle who are definitely concerned about media consolidation. I don't know if we're going to be able to find allegiance with our folks on the other side of the aisle, because I think people see it as a power struggle. People realize that whoever shapes what the masses see on TV and on the news impacts our politics. And the other sides feel that this is a winning issue for them, and they do not want to change things.
Well, we're going to have to leave it there. That's 2 hours of the truth, the laughs, the science, and the accountability that you come to us for. Today we talked about power, who's grabbing for it at the golf course with a fake badge, who's buying it in bulk from airlines, who's building it the right way, like Rashad Robinson, and who just won it fair and square in Michigan. If you are riding with us in the car, if you're streaming with us, we appreciate you. My thanks to the entire village that helps us produce A More Perfect Union, our executive producer, Tavis Smiley, our sound engineer, brother Andy, our show producer, Art Sears and Faraji Muhammad. Y'all keep walking fast, keep reading good books, keep showing up for each other. Do what you can from where you are with what you have, but by all means, do something. I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte, and you've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. Thank you, Al Reynolds. Thank you, Vincent Jones, for your work and witness.
Thank you. Toot toot beep beep.